This is Clint, host of the Geekdig Podcast and your future overlord. You are listening to this freaking show.
What's up, everybody? I am Travis D, and welcome to another episode of This Freakin' Show, the weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. Happy New Year's, everyone, because we are now here in 2019, and this is the first episode of the new year. Now, I said I was going to have a Christmas episode and everything, but unfortunately, a lot of things were going on over the course of the end of 2018. Wasn't able to make it, but it's okay. It's nice to take like a little break, even though I was on hiatus for a few months and everything, so maybe the break wasn't really necessary, but it was still okay. Taking a pause away from the cosplaying series that I have been trying to put together over here for the last month or so. Scheduling conflicted with the other couple of guests I'm hoping to get on here, but hopefully soon we get them on here as well, so we could get that series finished up pretty much. Really excited for today because we are starting an epic journey, me and Clint, the host of Geekdig Pod. We are starting a ranking of the 20 Marvel MCU universe movies that are currently out. Really excited to do that with him. It's a really long episode. I know I promised you guys we're only going to do 30 minutes and everything. And Derek, I apologize as well because I told you we're only doing 30-minute episodes. But when me and Clint get together and everything, the conversation just keeps moving and flowing and everything, and, you know, it drags out. So, hopefully you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy the ranking of the Marvel MCU universe movies with me and the host of Geekdig Pod, Clint. All right, everyone. We are sitting here now with the Vengeful Jedi, loyal friend to the show. I'm not done with the intro, man. Don't jump in yet.
I didn't say nothing.
Oh, I heard like a I thought you were going to go for an intro. So I screwed up my own intro. Not a big deal. Clint from the Geekdig Pod is with us again. I'm so happy that he's here, and we're going to have a lot of fun today. But real quick, Clint, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Just, keeping busy trying to get everything, wrapped up for the new year.
Awesome. And it's exciting time because this is New Year's Eve, December 31st of 2018. So, it's exciting because I get to talk to you at least one more time before the new year begins. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, it is exciting. I mean, it's not like fucking Fear is gonna give you an opportunity like this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Mr. messaged me, hey, bro, as soon as I get everything done and settled in, I'm going to go through my schedule and get some things set up. Yeah, been 3 weeks now. So, thanks, Fear. Motherfucking Canadians, I tell ya.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no.
But we love him anyway.
Exactly. Fear, you always hold a special place in our heart. Team Nap, if you will. Which we still have yet to do that, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's all on Fear. It's up to Fear now. You know, he's a celebrity that needs to make time for us. I get it.
Yeah, I think he's just a little bit intimidated because, I mean, you and I are individually we're pretty hefty individuals.
Oh yeah.
I think he's a little intimidated that he thinks that we're too much man for him to handle.
Oh, that's true. I am built like a bear, so I mean, I get it. And I know that my voice kind of projects a sense of like
Sexy.
yeah. I was gonna go with fear and dominance, but sexy works as well. Um, but Clint, I'm glad you're on the show with us. You were on a few weeks ago where we got a chance to kind of catch up and talk a little bit, and I was also on your show. a
Yes,
few
you
weeks
were.
as well. And I know we talked about it on your show. I can't remember if we mentioned it on my show, but I think I may have brought it up through an interview I had with a cosplayer, Oh My Sophie, from about a week ago. And we're discussing how we're going to try to do something to kind of collaborate our shows together by doing I guess a power ranking of all the Marvel MCU movies that came out over the last decade.
Yep.
So if no one caught that we were doing that on my show yet, that is what this is going to be. We took all 20 currently released Marvel MCU movies, put them in a ranking of 1 through 20. We're going to sit down today and rank the 20 through 11 here. And then we're going to wrap up the top 10 over on Geekdig Pod sometime in the future. So,
Yes.
yeah. So we're down. I don't know if we established when we're going to do the top 10 over on your show. But we'll get that figured out when you have an opening in your schedule.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm excited to do this because I know that, just like we kind of discussed before the recording, obviously our lists are going to be completely separated. We didn't sit down and collaborate a list together. We did our own listing and everything. You ranked yours based on your views of how the movies work with each other, as well as your personal opinion, and then mine focuses strictly on the um, the rewatchable tendencies that these movies have. So I'm excited to do it. I'm ready to jump into it. If you are,
Oh yeah.
uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, we as we discussed and everything, like for everyone who gives an idea of what we're gonna do here for it, we like I said, we have our own listing. We don't know what they are yet, so everyone's gonna find out what they are at the same time, which is super exciting. And we're just gonna kind of discuss why we chose that ranking. And we're not readjusting the rankings. We're not finding agreements to make a perfect 1 through 20. We are just gonna stick with ours because we are individuals and we have the right to feel the way we feel regardless of the input of other people.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
And if you don't agree with me, you are still my brother, and I accept your ability to be wrong. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
I
I was
I'm
I was
kidding. I love you, buddy.
I was gonna say the same thing about you, but mean it.
No,
But
no, no. Seriously, it's cool if we have different opinions on it because, I mean, the movies are gonna obviously we're gonna react in different ways.
mhm.
Um, like I've actually seen this a lot with well, on the other side of the comic book movies with Aquaman. Like
Yeah.
I reacted to this movie a little more strongly than some of my other friends who have seen it.
Well, I know Awkward Colin actually, he went to go see that movie. I want to say it was about 2 weeks ago. And he loved it. But I mean Colin's a big movie guy anyway, so
Yeah.
not that I don't trust his input on movies, but I mean like when we did the awkward flick segment here on this freaking show, I don't think he gave any movie less than a 3 out of 5.
Hmm.
So I mean his input, which granted I give him respect and have consider it valid, for what he sees. He's a movie guy. I can't think of a movie that he actually hated. So I do want to see it. I'm excited to see it. Maybe one day. I'll probably wait till it either comes out on demand or Netflix or something like that. I'm not a big theater guy lately and everything. The only movies I've ever seen in theater, probably in the last 5 years, have been either MCU movies or Deadpool.
Mm,
Nope, that's a lie. Jumanji. I saw Jumanji, which is awesome.
nice.
Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll dive into the listing here and everything. And if you care to, Clint, what did you rank as number 20?
I ranked Thor: The Dark World as my number 20 because I felt like the movie did very little uh, to progress not only Thor's story.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I felt that there was like some humor that was just misplaced and dragged out, and
Okay,
I
I kind of get
it
why
was
you would put it at number 20. I kind of see that because it kind of seems like it was a filler movie just to give. Thor an independent relevance in the series.
Yeah, even though that was the second movie, and he obviously had the first one
Mhm.
to to build him up a little bit and stuff. But yeah, I couldn't really get behind that movie. I mean, despite my despite the fact that Anthony Hopkins as Odin was awesome. But yeah, so Thor: The Dark World number 20.
I got you. Yeah, and it's weird to me because like I remember once being told that Anthony Hopkins was portraying. Um, you just said the guy's name. How can I not remember Odin? But you know what? If I don't think about it, and like, it does not remind me of him whatsoever. Like I'm looking at Odin, like that's not fucking Anthony Hopkins whatsoever. But he fucking killed that role,
Yeah, I did.
and in all three Thor movies, he did a great job. My number 20, I went with the 2008 Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
Um, Again, just based on rewatchability and everything, I saw this movie once about a year ago, and I did not. I couldn't get into it, and I'm not sure if it was because I seen all the Ruffalo versions of the Hulk and all the other movies that he was portrayed in. That it kind of killed me because it's a different actor with a different kind of character. So it really just didn't it didn't draw me in to want to watch it again. Like I said, like after I watched it, because me and Colin, we went through the process of watching all the MCUs that were currently out at that time. I think it was right before mm, it might have been Ultron, so maybe a couple years ago. But I couldn't get into it, and I just did not have like any kind of enjoyment. Plus, I wasn't a big fan of the Abomination role and all that stuff. Now it was cool with the post credits scene that Tony Stark was in, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool scene though.
Yeah. So I mean, like not a huge reason why, other than the fact that like I saw it once a year ago, and when I went through to kind of rewatch these to kind of get that feeling back into all the movies. Yeah, Incredible Hulk is one I do not own, and it's not one I have any interest in owning, other than the fact that I'll just own it to have all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because even though it was Edward Norton, it is still canon in the MCU.
Yeah, and that was a cool thing too because I there is another Hulk movie. I think it was that it came out in 2004.
It
That
came out around then, yeah, with Eric Bana as the Hulk.
Yeah, and a lot of times like when I was talking with Colin and everything, like because he was the one to explain to me how this Hulk movie is part of that MCU and everything. Um, but it was like very like confusing between two because I did watch both of them, but the 2008 one is I will say is better than the 2004 one, just for the fact that it builds into the storyline along with it. And plus, out of all 20 movies currently released, this one came out right after Iron Man did. So, it was already around the same era. It wasn't like, a 2004 Hulk movie came out and now 2008 came around when they started developing the MCU and they're like, oh, we'll just use this one. Now they had a 2008 one that they're able to kind of collaborate into it.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, well,
Yeah.
my this one's going to be further up on my list, so I'll save a little bit for that one.
Mhm. Got you. All right. So for number 19, I chose Iron Man 3. Um,
Actually, so did I.
did you?
Yes.
Oh, so
So, yeah, so we can actually discuss this one together.
perfect. Okay, so go ahead and tell me why this is number 19 for you.
Because one, I absolutely hated the way that the way that they handled the Mandarin. Um,
Mhm.
in the comic books and everything, uh, Mandarin was awesome. They could have done so much more with him in the current cinematic universe, but no, they had to go and basically make him like an imposter.
Yeah. No, I do agree with you as far as the Mandarin character that they had and everything. I also just wasn't a big fan of it, to me, a lot of the times, like especially like with certain like series movies and everything, it almost becomes a repetitive storyline. And unfortunate for me, anyways, all three Iron Mans kind of had the same kind of concept of how the villain came to be. It was somebody who wronged Iron Man business related wise. Like it wasn't anything that became personal and stuff like that. Like like it was just a nerdy guy who had an idea for Tony Stark. They go a flashback that discusses how he kind of blew him off, and then he developed this shit to try to like destroy Tony's world. And granted, yeah, I get it. It kind of get the same concept of every hero villain movie to begin with, but I mean, it was everything was always so personal, business related in all three movies. So when you get to the third point, it kind of gets redundant to me. I will say I did like the scene when he was with the kid and recharging the suits in it. Wait, what's it? Is it the first one or second one?
No, I think that was the third one.
Okay, gosh, yeah, because now they're kind of just blending together, and then that's what I hate too. They kind of start fucking blending together. But I did like the scene where he gets stuck. He's with the kid, and he's kind of like working with the kid and educating the kid and everything on his suits and everything, and he starts relating to the kid, with the dad issues and stuff like that too, which I think was pretty cool. That they kind of give Tony Stark more of a human quality outside of being a superhero, which I think was missed in like the previous two movies.
Yeah, they did actually show the more human wrestling with his demons element.
Yes, exactly, and I thought that was pretty cool. Um, if I was to look at the movies that way, it probably would have been a little bit higher on the list for me, but because when I was watching it through, like there was no interest in really watching the entire movie again, just because um I had no interest in rewatching this again. I mean, it just and that's why it's at the bottom of my list because as an excitement level for me, it was just kind of very bland.
Yeah,
There we go.
it didn't really do much for me. I mean, with like for me, like I said, it mishandled what could have been an amazing addition into the MCU.
Hmm.
Um, Everybody was looking forward to the Mandarin, and in the trailers it showed Ben Kingsley, and you're thinking he's all awesome and badass, and and then we get stuck with Guy Pearce.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, fuck this little bitch. I'm
I
like,
got you.
I wanted Ben Kingsley, but yeah, they completely mishandled it. And
Yeah.
then if you're gonna go like post credit scenes, you know, didn't really tease much for like the next movie or
Um,
you know
no, not at all.
expanding the universe or anything. So it was just the movie was just an entirely missed opportunity.
Hmm. No, and I agree with you 100%. And this one,
But yet there was still more that I enjoyed in it than Thor: The Dark World.
I got you. Yeah,
That's why this wasn't my number 20.
I got you. All right, so what do you have for your number 18 then?
My number 18 is actually The Incredible Hulk.
Okay, so we're not so far we're not too far off from each other.
No.
Okay, awesome. My number 18, I have actually the Iron Man 2, the second one.
Okay.
Um, but we'll just keeping with how we're doing this. Why don't you go ahead and explain your number 18 and why you have the Incredible Hulk set there?
Well, it to me there wasn't much in the MCU at that point. Um, so it was cool to see the origin story. I mean, obviously we found out the later reasons why the movie wasn't, or why Edward Norton didn't continue on.
Hmm.
It's just they felt that he wasn't that he wasn't a part of. I mean, they felt that he wasn't best suited. They wanted to get somebody in there
Yeah.
because I mean, there was the official. There was an official statement made by Marvel at the time, and they said, "We've made the decision not to bring Ed Norton back to portray the title role of Bruce Banner in the Avengers. Our decision is definitely not one based on monetary factors, but instead rooted in the need for an actor who embodies the creativity and collaborative spirit of our other talented cast members." Um,
Okay.
but you know what that tells me, though, is something that I have heard for a very long time, that Edward Norton's probably just hard to work with. That he's
You know,
probably
I
just like one of those problematic actors on set.
and I think I remember like hearing about that in a discussion we had about Marvel movies, probably probably a year or so ago on a previous episode. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad they made the change. I'm happy with Mark Ruffalo and everything. Like I said, I mean,
Mhm.
that's why the movie was number 20 for me. Is Edward Norton, I'll give him credit that he did do a good job, being Banner and everything, but
Yeah,
I feel that Ruffalo kind of gave it like that kind of next level thing, and it blends into kind of how the MCU is. It kind of has like those comedic qualities and everything, and I think Ruffalo really kind of brings that out a lot more in these movies and how everything works. To where I think like Edward Norton may have tried to do it, but I don't think he would have achieved that same goal.
yeah. And I just like the Hulk hasn't always been one of the more important characters to me. Like, I don't share the same love affair with the Hulk as many others do.
Mhm.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't hate him. I enjoy playing as him in some video games.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, and
because I like the big burly tank characters. So those are fun. But yeah, as far as the movies, I mean,
do
I
you
don't I I,
do you,
I don't feel that they've handled him at all very
mhm.
well in this cinematic, universe. So he feels like a weaker character to me.
Yeah.
You know, he's just not that big to me.
Gotcha. Do you think that the MCU would benefit to having a standalone Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie?
No.
No.
Um unless they were making it a sequel to The Incredible Hulk,
Mhm.
with the Ed Norton to this one. Um because this is canon, they can't go back and do like a origin, Mark Ruffalo Hulk, because we already have his origin story established in the MCU, through Ed Norton. And I don't see. I mean, unless they were gonna go like Planet Hulk with putting like Hulk in space and all that,
Mhm.
I don't think that there would be really any reason to do a Mark Ruffalo solo Hulk movie to progress the MCU.
Okay. Gotcha. Um,
Like, I think he's just sort of just there to fill a void.
fill the void. I like that. I chose Iron Man 2. Just it kind of has the same relevance to where like Iron Man 3 was, except for the fact that with this one being a follow up on the Avengers and everything, I wasn't a big fan of like Stark's. It kind of seemed like they tried to throw so much into this movie for people to have sympathy for Tony Stark. The reactor, slowly killing him, the only thing technically keeping him alive. I think it's kind of poetic, but still, I mean, on top of that, now he, establishes a problem where now he's trying to drown out his problems with alcohol and partying and shit like that. And on top of the fact, that, his friends, you know, um, James Rhodes is, taking his suit and everything, feels that he's unfit and everything. It just seems like a whole, like, avalanche of problems happening with him that kind of it pulled me away from the action adventure movies I was looking for and turned it more into like a drama and shit like that. They didn't quite humanize him as they did in the third one with the child. That may have made the movie better, but it's kind of like a whole like it seems like the entire movie was like woe is me towards Tony Stark, and I wasn't a big fan of that whatsoever.
Okay, I can see that. Uh, yeah. Now, my number 17. Um, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one,
Mhm.
and in a way, I don't care. Um, my number 17 is Captain America: The First Avenger.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah,
God, I above and beyond don't agree with that whatsoever.
my my reasoning one. Um, I never really cared too much for Captain America. Um, I think that he's the Marvel Universe's Superman,
Yeah.
where, with Superman, and I have the same issues with Superman on the DC side of things, where they just, where they just tried making him just awesome, in like in everything,
Mhm.
it's like, oh, well, here, he's going to be like the ultimate, like, it, I mean, to me, that takes away from the group dynamic that they're trying to pull with, the Avengers, and that, everybody bringing something different. But I just sort of the all American good old boy
Okay.
persona, just, I don't know. I've kind of tired of it a long time ago. Um, but I just, I mean, there, yeah, you had like the Red Skull and everything, pretty cool villain, but we didn't see him again until, I mean, they didn't do more with him. I mean, or much more. I mean, yeah, we saw him in Infinity War.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, yeah. Which I thought it was pretty cool that they did do that. That they kind of like reprised that villain and everything. It gives an idea of exactly what happened when he got sucked out and everything. Like if they, if not everyone was following like how everything was working there. So I thought that was pretty cool. But no, that I mean, I'm even surprised by that because I mean, I thought that was a great movie, and I think you'll be surprised where that ends up on my list. Then if you're
yeah,
looking at it like a
I'm
number
I'm
17.
not I'm not saying that it's a bad movie
Hmm.
necessarily. It's just it just doesn't strike me as it does a lot of people.
Oh, I get you. It's like we discussed earlier, man. Like, I mean, these are all our individual opinions and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you 100%. My 17 was Thor Dark World.
Okay.
And it's kind of like how, like I mentioned it, like when you first brought it up, about it being your number 20, is that it seemed to me it was just a filler movie to give Thor, another movie and a sense of relevance within the MCU. I got it that, it talked about the dark matter and how it correlates with the Infinity Stones and everything. So I think really, overall, it wasn't so much a Thor movie as it was to give like a history on the Infinity Stones a little bit more. I did think it was pretty cool that they brought Jane to his home to kind of like it was kind of like a meeting of the parents kind of thing. You saw a lot more of the comedic humor that the MCU is portraying more nowadays than compared to the previous one. And yeah, I liked it. I did like it, but I mean, compared to the other 16 above this, it doesn't compare in my ranking of the watchability and how much you would want to see it again after seeing it the first time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, yeah. So what'd you pick for number 16? Now that your 17 completely blew me away. Uh,
My number 16 may blow you away as well.
oh God.
Uh, I'm putting Avengers: Age of Ultron as my number 16.
This is, yeah, man. I mean, I'm surprised because we seem to be on the same page for like the first three, and then oh, sadness. But not a big deal. Okay, so what's with the Age of Ultron where you're looking at as number 16 for you?
I think that a lot of things were um, mishandled, underutilized. Um, for example, here we got the first glimpse of, yeah, we did get the first glimpse of quote unquote X-Men in the movie,
Mhm.
through Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Mhm.
However, the fact that, I mean, they finally get, you know access to utilize a couple X-Men, even though they couldn't use the word mutants. um
Did
but
they refer to them as Inhumans at all, or no? I can't.
I
I'm.
don't
It's
remember
escaping.
exactly. I think they did.
Okay.
I want to say they did, but I can't remember 100%. um but the fact that they killed off Quicksilver like right in that movie, it's like, here you have an opportunity to put something amazing, you know and I feel that was a missed opportunity. Plus, James Spader just kind of rubbed me the wrong way as Ultron a little
It's,
bit.
it's the voice that got you.
I don't know what it was. It just, I mean, now granted, you know, we did get some cool things in this movie. Um, we did get, Vision
Mhm.
out of it. We do. We did get a pretty decent post-credit scene out of it, though, um, because this is where Thanos. This was the one where Thanos was in the credit scene, and he shows the gauntlet, and he's swearing to get all of these, to collect all of the Infinity Stones.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was some missed opportunities. I guess would be the best way to put it.
No, hey, man, I agree with you. I mean, like it's. I mean, where I have it,
Although I do have to say that I don't hate any of these movies. I
no, and yeah, and I guess maybe we should kind of establish that a little bit more. I mean, like this isn't a ranking from like like from what we love to what we hate. It's just like, I mean, they are all good movies. I mean, yeah, I mean, I may not be a huge fan of the Incredible Hulk, but I mean, there's still other 19 other fucking movies that they're still they're still all well made and they're all still pretty good. It's just,
Yeah,
yeah, we're just finding like what we love to what we kind of still like. It's just
yeah,
it's a ranking of all good movies. Like, there's no dumpster fires in any of these.
yeah. Like I've eaten 20 varieties of pizza. They're all good, but
Hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna like some a lot more than others.
Would you like to make a YouTube video of eating 20 varieties of pizzas and ranking them with me? Because
Dude, I
that's
like this idea.
right. That sounds like a good fucking idea.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, we're gonna put that in the
Well,
notes.
Well, not just that, but we actually have to get together in order to do this.
Yeah.
So,
We'll just do an entire series of ranking foods and stuff. We could do tacos. Shit.
oh my god, I fucking love tacos.
Oh, everyone loves tacos.
Okay, so you have a number 16.
I do have a number 16. Number 16, I have Black Panther. Um,
Okay, this one's surprising to me.
yeah, it's nothing against the movie and what it's about. It's just like the very first time I watched it, I mean, it drew me in because it kind of gave the origin of Black Panther that I never really knew of. Um, but I mean, like, it really didn't like relate me to the rest of the MCU. Like, I mean, like, it had like small, like, it would have been nice if like Winter Soldier had like a better role into it, because I mean, like, not because this isn't following like the whole like this isn't like immediately after he gets frozen there and everything. I mean, like, this is a bit afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it would have been nice to like have him like a part of it a little bit more and everything. I like I said, like, a lot of this was more of an origin thing to me, which, um, as great as it was, without knowing the whole history of T'Challa and their like home and all that stuff, I wanted stuff to be more related to the actions that went through in Civil War and the actions that went through that were coming up, and I just wanted more of that to correlate with this movie. Now, I did enjoy everything, as far as like the technology that they were showing and everything with the cars that could be driven through a simulator and everything. You didn't actually physically be in the car, and the idea that they had the whole new suits and everything. I thought that was pretty cool too, and I like the ritual thing where you take you drink something, it takes away your powers and everything from the magical fruit that you guys got from when the meteor hit the earth and all that. I thought that was pretty cool too, because in order to be king of Wakanda, you had to fight on your own powers and abilities, not based on what you received from the fruit or the plant, if you will. I thought that was pretty cool, but just all in all, like, I'm just watching it, and it's as good as it was. It just didn't draw me in like the other movies did, and I just don't know if like maybe it would have if Black Panther came out a little bit earlier, or if that maybe that movie existed before Civil War happened. I think maybe that would kind of like, because I like Black Panther in Civil War. I actually liked him more in Civil War than I did in the actual Black Panther movie. So
Hmm.
I don't know. And also, like, when we got one more quick small thing, and this is just from a personal level of me. If they um for the pride that Wakanda has, it was kind of off-putting of how much like humor and comedy was in the people, because like I would see them more as a royalty thing where they would want to take things like I think it may would have been better if T'Challa was more like Thor from the first episode, that kind of, or the first Thor movie, where he merged into more of a laid back guy. But you saw him as that, that stern, like, prideful king kind of attitude. But it kind of just, he kind of just automatically started out as like a laid back guy and joking around with his ex girlfriend that he saves, and his sister and everything in the lab and stuff. I mean, it would have been okay for the sister, being younger, to kind of have more of that laid back attitude, but for him to have it, it kind of had an off putting feeling to me, because as a king of a nation, you have to have that Thor mentality, and then you can slowly merge into it, because people do evolve into different attitudes and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I'm assuming you won't be telling me your ranking of Black Panther in this episode. I'm assuming it's that high up on your listing.
I'm not confirming or denying its
I
placement.
got you. What about number 15?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, what you got there?
What's a T? No, I'm kidding. Uh,
What's it to you?
no, my number 15 is actually Iron Man 2.
Okay, yeah. So that was Susanna, my number 18. Okay. Um, and what's your feelings
And
on Iron Man 2?
well, one, it I couldn't really get behind Vanko a lot.
Mm,
I mean, he basically just wanted to, just take down Stark to show that he was, you know, not so invincible,
okay.
pretty much. But you see also, it was, how do I put it? Oh, okay. Sorry, I had lost the wording for a second. But the media's portrayal of Tony Stark, um, in the movie,
Mhm.
they were trying to cover up his disclosure as Iron Man. Um, in the comics and otherwise, Tony Stark was very, you know, vocal and very visible as his, you know, as his identity as Iron Man.
Mhm.
And I mean that was one of the things that drove the Civil War, story in the comics. Um, Obviously, it was greatly tweaked for the movie, for the Civil War movie,
Mhm.
but that was a little off-putting to me because the it the way that the it was handled in this movie just goes against what was coming up in future movies. Um, like being with the Civil War, where they want to know the identity of everybody, where they want these people known, they want these people registered. They don't want these people basically just being masked vigilantes. They want people to know the identity of these people, of these heroes that are running around.
Yeah.
But yet here in this movie, they're trying to squash it. They're trying to cover it up. With the identity of Iron Man, which obviously, you know, being the solo Iron Man movie, you're not going to get the widespread, you know, view of it for everybody else. Um, I do like. I mean, I did like that uh, Black Widow was in the movie.
Yes,
You
I
know,
did too.
just because Scarlett Johansson.
Hmm.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I did like the scene where she was fighting Happy in the ring. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's a babe.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It's just. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were other things. I mean, there were other things that were really good about the movie. Um, I liked that they did some good progression with Pepper Potts in this one.
Hmm.
She gets promoted to CEO of Stark Industries. Um, she's you know there's you can see more sparks and more love interest growing between her and Tony, and you know I thought they handled that really cool.
I agree with you on that. Like it's nice because like they didn't do that immediately, like in the first one. Like it was a growing process through it, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think maybe the other thing that kind of bugged me was the fact that they got it was Mickey Rourke to be Ivan Vanko.
I think he did a good job, though. I mean, Work's a good fucking actor.
He's okay.
He's okay.
I don't share the love affair everyone does. I'm weird. I admit that. But anyway, that's my take. That's where my Iron Man 2 is.
Okay. Um. Well, for number 15, I have down here Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Okay.
Biggest reason is it just because it I think because I didn't see it living up to the hype that Guardian Galaxy 1 did. And I wasn't a huge fan of the whole ego story and everything. It was kind of lackluster for me. I mean, it's nice to kind of give that origin of Peter Quill. It gave the answers of how he was able to hold the Infinity Stone, and gave it finally gave closure to who his dad was. You know how he ended up where he was, where he did end up, and everything. That I think is pretty cool. We got to meet Mantis, which I think is a fucking funny and adorable fucking character in the movie. It
Hmm.
shows Drax's more comedic side compared to his more vengeful side. But overall, it was just very lackluster to me when compared to the other one. Now it's still funny. Peter Star Lord is one of my favorite characters in the MCU. Uh, wasn't wasn't a huge fan of Baby Groot, but it was a lot funny to see him. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And then obviously, with Yandu, doing what he did to save Quill was pretty awesome too. It kind of gave that sense of even though he couldn't really admit it to himself fully, he was able to kind of show that he did love Quill for who he was. And also the Mary Poppins joke was fucking phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Yeah, true.
Yeah. I don't hate it. It's not a lot of negatives, there's more positives. It's just at this point now. I mean, from here on up, like it's gonna be like it's great, but it's not as great as the one before it. But yeah, I did like the movie. It was something that I would consider watching again, just not like right away kind of thing. And I would probably want to follow it up with Guardians 1 before Volume 2, just kind of get that whole like right after. And I thought that was also pretty cool because as the MCU timeline goes with all these, Volume 2 happens immediately after Volume 1. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like I think it's like a few months out, to where it falls in the timeline. So that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, my friend, what you got for number 14?
I have one of the remaining movies. I'm kidding. I actually put the first Thor.
Okay.
Now, I loved the first Thor. I thought Thor was a good movie. Um, don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Um, there were certain things that just annoyed the shit out of me, though. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Natalie Portman is an amazing actress. I think she's awesome
Agreed.
and hot, and but I didn't really feel that she was great in this movie. I mean, even though in real life she is really smart and everything, so it was really cool that they, tried putting her in there as an astrophysicist. Um, but her assistant, the girl that played Darcy,
Cat Dennings.
yeah,
Oh
just
God, I
wasn't
love
doing it
her.
for me.
She's so hot. She's hotter than Portman. Just so you know.
I don't think so.
In Two Broke Girls, yeah, she is.
I never watched Two Broke Girls.
Just Google an image, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. She's so hot. But no, I'm on the same boat with you as far as those characters. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just
Um.
I feel like themselves do so much to expand. I mean, I guess they were good for his story, for Thor's story individually, but
Yeah.
I don't know. And I mean, I felt like okay, it as far as the plot, um, I mean, it didn't really, it didn't really suck. Um, I like that they post credit scene. Um, you have Nick Fury showing off one of the stones.
Yeah, and that's kind of like we're kind of like low key. Like, wait, am I thinking? God, I hate the fact that these all kind of blend together. What is the is one of the post credit scenes in Thor where the professor and is like looking at and they want to
Oh,
like unearth the what the fuck was that?
a burp.
Nice. um, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. We're just gonna bypass that and go back to what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Although, and don't get me wrong, as far as like the direction of the film,
Mhm.
I love Kenneth Branagh. He's an amazing person, amazing actor. Um, it just seemed a little bit weird, or I don't know, just almost. I don't want to say like a questionable decision to put him directing a big superhero movie. I mean,
Okay.
I think there were some cool things that he did, and like I said, it was a very enjoyable movie, and I think for what it was good. Um, it had a different feel to me, um, and it's a different feel than what sits in the rest of the cinematic universe. You know,
Yeah.
it has the first Thor has a different feel to me than a lot of the other movies in the MCU. Um, and that's one of the reasons I like it. But if you're comparing it to the other movies, that's what kind of sets it apart and just kind of, pulls it out a little bit.
I got you. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing when it comes to these rankings. Like, it's a comparative aspect to the rest of the movies.
Mm,
It's not like it's not Thor up against Thor Dark World and Thor Ragnarok. It's Thor up against 19 other Marvel movies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Right now, I'm seeing Kat's Dennings.
Right?
Uh huh.
Yeah. She was also really good in motherfucker. Yeah, what's that fucking movie like? Saving Charlie, not Saving Charlie. It's Charlie Bay. I don't know what the fuck it is. Robert Downey Jr. in it. She was in it. The guy from Star Trek who died was in it. Charlie Bartlett.
Okay, yeah. It
Yeah,
was
she was in
Anton Yelchin.
that. Yeah, Charlie Bartlett. That was a good movie, and she was pretty good in that too. Oh yeah, oh no, I like her. I think she does a wonderful job in everything she does. But we're not here to talk about her. We're here to talk about my number 14,
Yes, we
which
are.
is Captain America: Civil War.
Okay.
Um, there's nothing negative about the movie. The only thing that comes to it being number 14 for me is it didn't draw me into the excitement that the rest of them have. Now it is cool because this is the introduction to the new Spider-Man. Um, introduces the new hot Aunt May. But it's kind of
Uh huh.
yeah, right. Uh,
Dude,
it's
Marissa Tomei. Oh my
mhm,
god.
right. All around, very very good movie. it just like when it goes to everything else above it, it's hard to compete with it, and it's just one of those like if I was to watch, the chronological order or the timeline as is supposed to be, this would be one I would be okay skipping for the time being, just because I don't need to see it um, to kind of understand how everything's going on. Now I do like that they did have the battle within the Avengers, as well as, this is the intro to Black Panther, this is the intro to Spider-Man, everything. They're a part of this. It kind of, shows, the relationship between, Vision and Scarlet Witch. We got Hawkeye back and everything, and I love his line how like it's like he's like just a human and he's fighting like all these like heroes and like these powerful guys and stuff. I do like how even like when he's facing Black Widow at the airport, they still have a mutual respect and love for each other, but they kind of they understand that they're fighting for a certain cause. Um, the movie is kind of all over the place a little bit. I kind of like wish it wasn't as scattered as what I thought it was, but overall, it was a pretty good movie and everything. But it just hits me at number 14.
Okay. I think for me, it's for my yeah, for my number 13.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I actually put the first Ant-Man.
The first Ant Man
Yeah,
at number 13.
I did.
Oh man, you must hate yourself.
No, I don't actually.
I don't actually. I'm kidding. Why?
Well, I mean, I do most days, but not for this reason.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I am very self-deprecating and self-loathing, but that's a different podcast altogether. Uh,
On the couch with travesty.
ooh.
Ooh. All right, Ant Man
Yep.
13.
Wait.
So what?
Okay.
So what's going on with that? Why number 13?
Um. Actually, hold on. I just fucked something up on my list. Undo. Okay, there we go. All right. So Ant Man. Don't get me wrong. Ant Man was very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Um. I think the ways that they've used him so far in the universe is pretty good. This one, I don't really have a reason to say that it was low or there was anything bad to put it, at a down spot on the list.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, now we're pretty much at a point where I loved all of these movies. I just, it's just I kind of had to put them somewhere.
Yeah.
And this one's only number 13 just because there's other movies that I ended up just liking more for other reasons. But I mean, the movie, obviously, some of the things that I thought, that outdid some of the other movies. You know, I loved that he didn't have a big. Um, I love that Scott Lang didn't have a big. What do you call it? Like origin
Yes.
story or like past.
Okay.
Um, like in a sense of Tony Stark being the big rich billionaire with whole thing. Thor being a god, and Bruce Banner being an amazing scientist, and things like that. Um, nah, dude was a thief. Dude served time.
Yeah.
You know,
No, yeah, and that's why I kind of like because like even when it comes to like Ant Man and even Ant Man and the Wasp, I mean, the only origin kind of story you get about Ant-Man, they kind of portrayed in like the beginning of those two episodes, kind of, on what happened to the wife and everything, obviously, too. So it gave you a brief background, but it didn't turn into a whole like thing.
Yeah,
You know, it
you didn't get a massive origin story. Um,
exactly.
so I think that okay. So I think if there's any reason that I could put for this one being where it is Ant-Man is not as developed and established a character as other, you know,
Mm,
as the other characters in the MCU that have had, you know, I guess more exposure. And I mean, as even as much as they've done, he hasn't really done much with the other Avengers. They haven't really utilized him to the best of their ability yet.
yes, I can agree with that. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's because I believe there's gonna be a third Ant-Man movie. I'm not sure when.
I hope
Um,
so.
yeah. Did you happen to see the? I'm assuming you have the trailer for the next Avengers movie.
Yes.
I'm really interested to see how he ended up outside the door. Because I mean, if we remember how the post-credit scene for Infinity
Oh
Wars
yeah.
where
No,
he
I
did
know.
end up, I'm kind of,
I know where he's stuck in the quantum realm and you're wondering
yeah,
how he gets out.
yeah, that's gonna intrigue me.
I have a
Um,
theory.
did we talk about that theory on your show?
We may have to where um I think we don't know anything about that yet um because Captain Marvel isn't in theaters yet.
Okay. Yeah, because the only thing I could have really thought of, like thinking about it again, going back and looking at these movies and everything, like in the first Ant-Man movie, he ended up in the quantum realm and got himself out. So I thought maybe that's just all he did, and it'd be very lackluster and boring.
Yeah.
Mm,
But there was other things that that they did, which you know the fact that they had to make it dependent. It was just the way they had to work out the story. Uh, but I think Captain Marvel is going to go into the quantum realm and retrieve him. Um, and I think that that's where a lot of time travel is going to come into play because time and space are irrelevant within the quantum realm. So
gotcha.
I think they're going to be able to manipulate and use that, since Thanos has the time stone. I think that that's where some time travel can come into play. Hoping and assuming that they do it right.
Hmm.
I mean, as far as using time travel, if that's the route that they go.
Oh, I get you. So for my number 13, I followed up Civil War with Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Um, I like how you say "okay" after every one of mine, like you're disappointed in me or something.
No, I'm not. I'm not
Like,
disappointed, but
okay.
I'm trying to I'm trying to capture your overall list, sort of the feeling and progression of your list.
I got you. I got you. Honestly, there's no rhyme or reason other than the fact that, like, if I sat there and said, "Hey, do I want to watch this movie again right away?" Maybe not yet. And it's just how much of an interest I got right there. But I mean, when it comes to Winter Soldier, like again, all these love these movies, but it didn't draw me in like the previous movies above it. I like the whole again, and one of the cool things about with this, and I don't know if it's relatable to you or not, but I knew nothing about most of these origins and stuff until I watched the movie. Like I had no idea Bucky was the Winter Soldier. Like I didn't know that. I didn't read the comic books and look into stuff and stuff like that. Like so when I found out Bucky was Bucky as the Winter Soldier and everything, then it was like a legit surprise to me. So that was pretty cool in that aspect. Um I liked I like that, with this and everything, we were introduced to the Falcon. I like the fact that
Black Widow was part of this movie as well, so it gets her more involvement into the MCU. All in all, I mean, it was a very good movie. It shows it was showing the Hydra virus that was inside Shield the whole time, which was also pretty cool.
Mhm.
And it also kind of like showed how it gave I can't remember her name, but she played Robin in How I Met Your Mother. I can't remember her character or her real name right at this second, but like I guess like um Samuel Jackson's like number two right hand woman or whatever. It gave her more of relevance into the series as well, which is a surprising thing because when you have like those background characters or those supporting roles, you really don't give them too much, but they really did to her, especially in this movie. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it sits at my number 13.
Okay.
My number 12, I think, may surprise you. But I went with Doctor Strange.
That does
Um,
surprise me.
does it? See, I thought this one like may have out of all of them just because I think I know your likeness for this. Nothing wrong with it. I liked the beginning of the whole thing and how like a successful doctor uh gets in an accident, has to alter his life, becomes a superhero. Unfortunately, to me, watching this was almost like a carbon copy of fucking Iron Man. It was, fucking rich playboy, incident happens, becomes a superhero. I just, I, that was kind of lackluster for me. Even, I mean, granted, that's the origin of it. That's how it is. That's fine. But I mean, I'm saying like this is just Tony Stark 2.0. I do like some of the mystical stuff. I'm not a huge guy of like mythical stuff like that. Granted, even though all these are superheroes, so the whole thing's mythical as it is. But I don't know. It just didn't draw me in as everything else and everything. So I kind of just looked at it. I'm like, okay, so it's a good movie. I do plan on buying it when it's not $25 for some reason. I don't know why it's still 25 fucking dollars. But as soon as like the price drops, I will purchase the movie. This
Because
was
it's
one.
that damn good.
Yeah, I get it. But like as I was saying before we started recording, there were three of these 20 that I haven't watched. One I definitely wanted to, which was the Hulk, and the other ones were Black Panther and Doctor Strange. But when it comes down to it, like I wasn't so eager beaver about fucking watching them again because it's like I've seen them once already. Maybe down the road I'll watch them again. It just didn't spark my interest to see it again. I did have I and it was kind of like I liked him a lot more, like his role in Infinity Wars and everything that I did compared to him having his own standalone movie. I don't think it has anything to do with Cumberbatch in any way, but maybe it does. I really don't know. I don't think it is, but there's a possibility. Mordo, is it Mordo? Did I pronounce that Mordo? Mordo?
I think
I,
so.
Okay, I'm not sure. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. I do like the fact that the post credit scene and everything, it kind of gave him his villainous outlook on believing there's too many wizards in the world. So it's nice that they open it up for an opportunity for a second Doctor Strange movie if it does happen. If Mordo happens to make a presence, it is kind of weird that there hasn't been any mention of Mordo lately, especially in Infinity Wars in any type of way. But I mean, they're probably leaving something. But at this point now, if there was to be a second Doctor Strange movie, it's gonna have to happen before Infinity Wars to make Mordo relevant, or also just kind of be a little lackluster for me. Regardless of all that, though, Doctor Strange was a good movie. I did enjoy it. I just didn't enjoy it as the ones above it. But I think 12 out of 20 still ain't that bad.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you there, buddy?
Okay. Uh, my number 12. Um, and I'm actually going to kind of have to make these next two kind of fast, actually. Um, but my number 12 was actually Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
Um, I very much enjoyed it. But the thing that really put this at number 12 for me, that made me not love it more, I think, was daddy issues. The whole handling with ego and I
Yeah.
just it. I mean, the whole daddy issue thing was just very. I mean, obviously, not everybody's going to have like the perfect relationship with their parents or like perfect relationships with like origin stories and stuff. I mean, you just look at like Peter Parker, for example, with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Um, or if you're going to go DC, like Batman, just completely robbed of well, yeah, parent. Anyway,
The
um,
father figure, that male figure in their life.
yeah, um, but it feels very Spielberg to me.
Mhm.
In that respect of it, because the main character, like in a Spielberg movie, is usually 9 out of 10 times, you see them visibly struggling with some type of parent issue.
Yeah.
You know, and don't get me wrong, I love the characters. I thought it was cool to see, the Ravagers and just some of the transformation with Yandu. You know, like you said, being able to see a more personable side to Drax instead of just, violence and aggression and things like that. Um, yeah, the whiny teenage Groot was a bit annoying too. But
Mhm.
come on, that fight scene in the beginning when you got like little baby Groot just kind of dancing around and everything.
Yeah.
I
That
mean,
was
that
a good
dude,
scene.
that was fucking awesome. But yeah, I think that's just where this movie plays for me. Um,
What about number 11?
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay.
Again, loved it. I thought it was great. Um, but and and obviously I liked that, they put the timeline alongside Infinity War. Just to kind of show something else that was going on in the world outside of Infinity War, uh,
Hmm.
which the post credit scene was what solidified its place in the timeline.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But yeah, I didn't hate it. Um, I mean, I think part of it is the comedy. Um, with Ant Man, there's a lot more comedy than there is with the other movies in the MCU, I think. And I think even with Guardians 2, I think that was kind of it with me, where I just like a little bit more serious. Yeah, give me some action, give me some comedy. You know, if you can blend them both, great.
Gotcha. No, I could agree with you on that. I mean, like, there has to be that balance of, like, seriousness and comedy and stuff like that. I totally 100% agree with you on it. Number 11, I went with the Iron Man, the original Iron Man movie. Great movie. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It is at the top of my three Iron Man movies. I like the origin of it. It's the OG movie of the MCU universe. It's the first one to come out of these 20. I think it came out great. I liked Robert Downey Jr. as it. I just there were 10 other movies that were better of it. There's not much to say about the movie. There's not negative about it. I like it. Huge fan of the villain. Huge fan of the turnaround that he did and everything, which I thought was pretty cool. Kind of like a wake up call kind of scenario. But yeah, it's like none too special about it. Just it's a number 11 thing, and it's just rounding off the bottom 20 or the bottom 10 of my list.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this has been a really, really good list so far.
Yeah, I mean it's there. I think from what I'm because obviously I'm sitting here comparing my list to your list. We're about 50% equal in agreement on the 11 through 20. I mean, obviously some of my top 10 were in your bottom 10, and some of your
And
bottom 10 were in my top 10. So it gives us a nice kind of a blend of like our views on what's good and what's not through our views and everything. But at the same time, I mean, it's pretty close. I mean, between 11 through 20, we agreed on Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Thor Dark World, and Incredible Hulk. We have agreed on those as like the bottom 11 through 20s, which is pretty cool.
yeah,
hmm
yeah, it was.
Yeah. So we got through that. For those of you listening and everything, like if you guys want to play along, go and send us your ranking of the 20 movies so far from 1 to 20. We would love to see your feedback and input on it. And like as mentioned earlier, we will do ranking 1 through 10 over on Geekdig with Clint sometime here in the near future, hopefully, and get that done. Clint, before you leave though, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you so when they are ready to hear the listing, they know where to go.
All right. Well, you can find the Geekdig podcast almost anywhere that you can find a podcast. Um, we're on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, the Satchel Player, Player FM, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Your Amazon voice activated devices. You know, you can tell her to play Geek Dig podcast, and she will.
Nice.
I happen to have one, and I don't want to activate it right now, so that's why I'm not using her name.
Bold move, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, and you can also go to geekdigpod.com, and the episodes are there as well as the links to all of the aforementioned platforms.
Nice. Awesome. Clint, thank you so much for coming on the show again. I do appreciate it. I know this time of year is definitely busy for everyone, so I appreciate you took
Uh-huh.
time out to do this with me. Like I
Yeah, this
said,
was fun.
oh yeah, it's always fun when we're together, bro, and you know that.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit, I'm making a mess. Yeah. So make sure you guys get your list together and everything. Like I said, we just did our 11 through 20. We're gonna do 1 through 10 with Clink, Clint over at Deep Dig Pod here coming up soon. So I appreciate you guys being here listening to us, and I'm gonna say my goodbyes to Clint. We'll come back and I'll close out the show.
Cool.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The 20 through 11 of our ranking of where we feel the MCU movies are standing. As mentioned, don't worry. You can catch 1 through 10 over at Geek Dig Pod on episode 2020. Releasing right around the same time this one is, so there is no wait to see what they are. I want to thank Clint again for coming on the show. It's always fun to have him on here, especially, he's been a big supporter of the show, and I really do appreciate everything that he does for me as a podcaster. Long ass show, so I'm not going to really take up too much time on the closing here and everything, but I failed to mention in the intro that this show is brought to you every week by the Firepit Bar and Grill, Peotone, Illinois. Now, if you're looking for a down-home country restaurant that offers a burger and beer for just $7.99 every Monday and Wednesday, you need to check out the Firepit Bar and Grill, Peotone. You can find them at Facebook at Firepit Bar and Grill. Also, we are brought to you by WeAreDepperTies.com. High-quality ties for just $15 a piece. At checkout, you use the promo code Freakin, Freakin. You save on free shipping. All right, guys. New year, new resolutions, right? So let me give you a quick rundown of what I'm freaking thinking this week, which is no doubt a New Year resolution. As you guys know, from the beginning of 2018, I started a keto lifestyle, a diet of sorts, but I like to consider more of a journey and more of a lifestyle change because diets just seem more forced and bullshitty. So jumping back on that wagon, kind of wandered off the path of my journey, if you will, towards the end of the year and everything. But it's time to really get back and really get focused on a better, healthy lifestyle for myself because I really want to be here for a long, long time. So if you guys haven't had a chance to and are interested, you could read a journal post, a blog, I guess, if you want to call it, or a journal that a public journal, if you will, of my journey from last year and everything to come this year. It is on WordPress. You just got to search This Freakin' Journey. It'll bring you right to it. That's all I have. So as always, I am Travesty, and thank you for listening to another episode of This Freakin' Show. I'm out.